Every sign has its strongest stars today, and one stretch that favors steady routine work rather than fresh starts, and both are coming up in this reading. Good morning and welcome. Today's guidance is read from your Vedic Moon sign, calculated sidereally with transit houses counted from that moon sign. So listen for your moon sign, not your sun sign. Here in New Delhi, Thursday carries the Tithi Shukla Pratipada, which lasts until 8:42 in the evening, and the Nakshatra Ashlesha, running until 6 in the morning. Readings today are from your moon sign. The link below finds yours in 10 seconds. There is also a Rahu Kala window today, from 2:05 to 3:44 in the afternoon, a good stretch for steady, familiar tasks rather than launching something new. Keep this rhythm in mind as we move sign by sign through the day ahead. Aries, courage reaches you before caution does. And today that same fire finds a steadier home before it finds new ground. Yesterday's gathering in your fourth house, home and inner ground, likely left you a little more inward than usual, tender around family matters. That settling continues this morning. The Sun, Moon, Mercury and an exalted Jupiter are gathered in your house of home and family. And with Jupiter, your period lord, exalted there, this is a supportive base for steadying money talks or a family decision. Before the moon moves into your fifth house at 6 in the morning, opening the door to creativity, romance and playful risk. On work and money, let this house of home offer you grounding before you push into anything new. A quiet plan made now travels well later. Aries, in relationships, that fourth house warmth favors real conversation with people close to you, the kind that asks nothing more than your presence. For energy and health, Mars, your ruler, moves through your third house. So let your natural drive channel into a clear conversation rather than restlessness. Today settles before it lifts, and it asks little of you but attention. Let that same steadiness reach beyond your door and set out water or food where a stray animal or the birds outside can find it because they need it. May today bring you one moment worth remembering. Taurus, today favors your mind over your muscle. Clear thinking carries more weight than force. Yesterday, that same third house of courage, siblings and short journeys felt light and quick. And today Mercury and the Sun join an exalted Jupiter there too. So work favors short conversations and quick decisions over long, grinding effort. Venus, your ruling planet, sits weakened in Virgo's fifth house of ideas. So let any new plan simmer before you spend on it. Taurus, Mars steadies your second house of resources and voice, giving you a calm way to say what you need without pushing anyone. Much like you build slowly, and what you build holds. Saturn, retrograde in your 11th house of gains, casts its full third aspect today. So your energy favors patience over push in these early hours. At 6:06 in the morning, the moon moves into Leo and your fourth house of home, easing any early heaviness. The day that opened light in your third house settles into your fourth house of home, the same unhurried rhythm you are known for. Let that unhurried nature show today by giving someone your full, undivided attention while they speak, asking nothing back. Your free full chart is waiting for you on the website. Whenever you want the whole sky read in one place, go easy on yourself today. The stars are patient, and you can be too. Gemini, today steadies you first, then sets your quick mind loose on the conversations and small errands ahead. Yesterday's focus on your money and what you value likely left you taking stock of your resources. This morning, the moon still sits in your second house of money and possessions, its own sign of Cancer, with Jupiter exalted there as today's period lord and your ruler Mercury also gathered in that same house, Gemini. So your judgment about what things are worth stands on solid ground. And a small decision about spending or saving fits well right now. By 6 in the morning, the moon shifts into your third house of communication and short journeys. And since curiosity is your engine and connection costs you no effort at all, Gemini, this is a fine window to reach out to someone or finally ask the question you've been holding. Mars moving through Gemini itself, your first house of self, keeps your energy brisk. So pace yourself and ease off between 2, 5 and 3:44 in the afternoon. The day's Rahu Kala, saving busier calls for either side. Gemini, that quick, learned intelligence carries you well today. From minding what you value to reaching out with ease, and that same warmth can serve someone else. Look for someone struggling under a practical load and lend a hand to lighten it simply because you can. Wishing you a calm and steady day ahead. Cancer, home is not a place today. It is a feeling, and you are standing right in the middle of it. Yesterday brought the moon into your first house of self, and that homecoming warmth is still settling into you this morning. On work and money, the Sun and Mercury sit together in your own sign in that same first house. So, how you come across matters more than usual. People are reading you clearly, and your ruler, the moon, has been right there with you, which is why you read a room before anyone in it has said a word. A simple, honest conversation serves you well before the day moves on. On relationships, Cancer, notice that Jupiter sits exalted in your first house too, lending real warmth to how others meet you. Though Venus is a touch strained in your house of communication, so choose patience over quick replies if a message feels prickly. On energy, the moon leaves this settled first house and steps into your second house of resources and speech at 6:06 this morning. A gentle shift toward practical matters. Today gathers everything close to home and asks you to receive it fully. In that spirit, consider checking on someone who has been quiet or alone lately. Just your voice or your company, nothing more. Let today be simple. That is enough. Leo, warmth already precedes you into every room today, and that quiet magnetism is your gift to lean on now. Yesterday, your 12th house of rest and retreat opened quietly, and that softer mood likely carried into how you started this day. Leo, today's sky keeps much of its weight in that same 12th house, with the sun, your own ruling light, resting there alongside your period lord Jupiter, exalted in Cancer. So the day favors going inward before you push outward. In work and money, Venus sits weakened in your second house of resources. So before any spending or negotiating, take a slower look at the numbers rather than rushing a decision. In relationships, Mars moves through your 11th house of friendships and community. So, a message to a friend or a shared plan with your circle carries easy energy now. For your energy and health, with the Moon and Mercury also gathered in that same house of rest, this is a good day to slow down, breathe, and let go of what you have been carrying. Before the moon moves into your own sign a little later, that quiet warmth you carry needs no announcement. It simply settles into whatever room you enter next. Somewhere today, offer your seat, your place in line, or a slice of your time to someone who needs it more than you do, simply because you can. May something small go beautifully right for you today. Virgo, today asks you to let your usual precision soften into patience because the steadiness you're known for is exactly what this day rewards. Yesterday likely felt full and outward, with friends, networks, and shared gains carrying the momentum. That same house of connections holds Jupiter today, exalted and acting as your period lord. So support continues to flow through the people around you rather than through solo effort. For work and money, this favors you reaching out, following up on a shared opportunity, or letting a colleague's introduction do some of the lifting. Virgo, in relationships, Saturn sits in your house of one-to-one partnership and casts its full aspect outward, so a close bond may ask for more listening than fixing today. Give it that patience rather than a quick solution. For energy, Mars holds your house of career and public effort with a strong aspect of its own, so channel your stamina into one clear task rather than scattering it, especially as the day eventually turns inward toward rest. Precision has always been your instinct, and quiet service is the shape your care naturally takes. Let today settle into that steadiness. If you can, take a few patient minutes to show someone a skill they've been struggling with, asking nothing back. Carry this lightly and have a truly good day. Libra, today favors you quietly and steadily because the mind that carries you through decisions carries less noise now than it did yesterday. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house of career and public standing, and that likely felt like a lot of eyes on you at once. Jupiter now sits exalted in your 10th house, the house of career and public standing, and that steadies whatever spotlight remains on your work, Libra, so you can move through today's meetings and decisions with grounded confidence rather than performance pressure. Your ruling planet Venus sits in a quieter corner right now, your house of rest and closure. So let closeness today lean soft rather than showy, a real conversation over a grand gesture. Your energy itself is on the move too. As the moon shifts out of that public house and into your house of gains and community. So let your effort today recharge through people rather than solo grind, favoring today's later hours for conversations with those who genuinely support your goals. You are the one who finds the balance point in almost any room, and that gift steadies others as much as yourself. Let your landing act be simple. Find something useful sitting unused in your life. A tool, a skill, a spare hour, and pass it along to someone who could actually use it, expecting nothing back. The day is yours to shape. Shape it kindly. Scorpio, today ask you to translate a big realization into one small, doable action. Yesterday's moon opened in your house of belief and learning. The ninth and likely left you turning over big questions long into the day. That reflective energy is still in the sky this morning. Your period Lord Jupiter sits exalted in Cancer within that same ninth house, casting its full fifth aspect forward into the effort you put into daily tasks. Scorpio, so an insight from study or a wider view can now shape one concrete step at work today. That same Jupiter influence favors honest, thoughtful conversation, and it suits you well. Mars rules you, so you go deep where others skim, and your resilience is easy to underestimate. Let someone close see the sturdiness you usually keep quiet. Once the moon shifts into your 10th house at 6 in the morning, channel that steadiness into visible effort rather than overthinking, letting the day's motion carry you rather than your doubts. That single, deliberate step is what today is really asking of you, Scorpio. Before you close it, say the encouraging word you've been meaning to say, offered simply, asking nothing back. Move through today at your own pace. It is the right one. Sagittarius, mark this morning. Chandrashtama ends and the moon leaves the deep 8th house for your 9th house of wisdom and horizons. Both at 6 in the morning. Yesterday, the moon sat in that 8th house of shared resources and deep change, and the weight of it was likely felt through the day. Right now, the sun, Mercury and Jupiter still gather in that 8th house with you, and Jupiter sits exalted in Cancer as today's period lord. So a shared money matter, a joint account, or a debt carries real strength for you. Move it gently rather than in a rush, since Chandrashtama still holds you until 6 in the morning. That steadiness suits you. Sagittarius, Jupiter rules you. Optimism is your default, and the honest search matters to you more than simply arriving. In partnership, Mars sits in your 7th house of relationships and sends its full aspect straight back to you. So, a conversation with a partner may run warmer than usual today, worth meeting directly rather than sidestepping. Saturn in your 4th house of home casts its steady aspect onto your standing, a nudge to pace your public efforts today rather than push. Once the moon reaches that 9th house, its wisdom is yours to carry forward. Let today's small act of care be this: quietly finish a chore that was never yours and leave it there, asking nothing back. May the day meet you kindly and leave you a little lighter. Capricorn, today asks you to keep showing up for the partnerships you already built, and that steady, patient commitment is exactly what carries you furthest right now. Yesterday likely felt like every conversation needed your full attention, with alliances and close partners asking to be heard. That thread continues. Jupiter, this period's ruling planet, sits exalted in your 7th house of partnership and casts its full aspect back toward you. So collaborations and shared ventures carry real weight for your work and money today, especially where Mercury in that same house sharpens the conversation. So let agreements be spoken plainly rather than assumed. Capricorn, this is Saturn's gift in you. You play the long game by nature, not by discipline, and today rewards exactly that patience in how you relate to others. Later, the moon moves from that partnership house into your 8th house, a quieter, more inward part of the sky. So give yourself permission to rest rather than push through. That same patient steadiness carries you through both today's partnerships and this quieter turn. Before the day closes, take a moment to thank someone whose steady, unnoticed work keeps things running. Nothing is owed back for saying it. Whatever today asks of you, you have met harder days than this. Aquarius, the story today is a quiet handoff. Today opened with your moon still resting among daily tasks, and now it eases toward the 7th house, the house of partnership and one-to-one connection. Yesterday's cluster of activity in your working life likely left you a little full, busy hands, busy mind, plenty to track. That fullness has reason behind it because the period Lord Jupiter sits exalted in your sixth house of work and routine, which means effort spent today on tasks and health habits is genuinely well supported. So, use the morning hours for the practical list before attention naturally turns outward toward others. As the day leans toward partnership, conversations with a partner, a client, or someone close carry more weight than usual. So, Aquarius, let yourself actually listen rather than just resolve. On the energy side, keep pace steady rather than rushed, since so much is already working in your favor without forcing it. You think from an angle nobody else tries, and that same original mind can simply sit quietly with someone today, visiting or staying beside a person who is unwell and letting them decide the pace, nothing rushed, nothing expected back. The day that began in duty settles gently into connection. Let today be useful rather than perfect. Pisces, today favors your creative and romantic instincts more than any push for quick decisions. Yesterday, the moon opened warm and expressive in your fifth house, and that light, open feeling still carries into today. Jupiter, your ruling planet, sits exalted in your fifth house, the house of creativity, children, and romance, and its full ninth aspect gives quiet backing to whatever you begin here today. For work and money, let a creative idea take one practical step today rather than forcing a deal. Pisces, compassion moves you first, and your imagination reaches where analysis cannot, which is exactly what makes today's ideas worth trusting. In relationships, Venus sits in your seventh house of partnership, not quite at ease there, and looks back toward you with its full seventh aspect. So, patience serves better than pushing for a quick answer. For energy and health, the moon moves from your fifth house into your sixth house at 6:06 in the morning. So, give the earlier hours to anything creative and let practical routine take over as the day continues. That same fifth house warmth that opened yesterday is still yours to lean on today. Pisces, let that same warmth carry into a small act of care, sharing a meal with someone who is hungry, offered simply because it is good to give, nothing expected back. Walk gently today and let the day come to you. Whatever your sign carried today, may you close it out with a little more ease than you started, a warm cup of something good, a quiet moment to breathe, and the sense that you met the day exactly as you needed to, a little kinder to yourself and to the people around you along the way. We would genuinely love to know who is listening tonight. Which sign are you? Tell us in the comments. If today's sky was useful, subscribing keeps it coming every morning.